Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to the JPX923 test, the JPX test, but for slower swingers. Now on the floor over here I have 5 different golf clubs and they are the Tour, which is arguably a blade, or it's a forgiving blade, smallest cavity I think I've ever seen. You've got the Forged there. Now the Forged is their bridging iron. There's Forged is one that transitions between the hot metal to potentially going into something about the MP, or the Mizuno Pro. The reason why I haven't added the Mizuno Pro in at the moment, obviously you've got the 221, 223, 225. At the moment they're in their transition period of going to 241, 243, 245, and to be fair, this is a JPX video, not the Mizuno Pro video. I'll do one of those later, but you've got the Hot Metal Pro. The Hot Metal Pro is the nicer looking hot metal. It's still, shall we say, rather strong in its loft. It's 28.5 degrees for a 7-iron. It's rather strong, but it has got a slightly thinner top line, slightly thinner sole, less offset. It's the better looking. Again, that all depends on what you think is better looking. And then you've got the Hot Metal. Hot Metal is their standard full-on game improvement iron, fairly strong again, 28.5 degrees for a 7-iron, but it's their go-to for distance and forgiveness. But you have the one at the end called the Hot Metal High Launch. Now, new for JPX923, wasn't there in 921 and 919 and 900. The High Launch is there for the slower swinger. And it was designed, like many other manufacturers have started to put in high launch options in their range, it's designed for the slower swinger. It's designed to try and get that golf ball launching, get the golf ball with distance and some forgiveness and stuff like that. There will be a point of where the High Launch starts becoming much, much more functional than the other two Hot Metal series. We're going to do all the tests with all of them at a certain speed. I'm aiming for between 70 and 75. It's going to take me some time to dial in my swing because I'm not used to swinging at 70 to 75 miles an hour. We won't do all the stuff on camera because again, it will be daft. You'll just see me hitting shots and the video will be on forever. I've got to do all the hitting, but we'll go to the PC now. We'll have a little look at a chart. Everyone loves a chart. And we'll find out from there. You can have a look at what feels the best, what looks the best. Again, that's subjective. But then what launches the best, what's the best distance, and what's best peak height and descent angle control. So you can get an idea of all of them, which one is going to suit you the best. So I've done all the shots with the 5 different golf clubs at 73 or so miles an hour. When you take speed away from all these golf clubs, and these golf clubs, they are designed massively differently and have got massive different lofts in them, between 34 and 28.5 degrees, nearly 6 degrees of loft. But let's quickly have a look at the ball and club compare screen. Reason why I'm going to use this rather than the tablet stuff is the fact that it's graphical and you can kind of see it a bit better. And so if we go Hot Metal first, the standard normal Hot Metal, 100.8 ball speed, launching at 18.2, total spins 4.2 and carry 140. I'll put the club head data underneath that. So it's going 73.1 miles an hour club head speed, dynamic loft to 24 degrees and attack angle 4 degrees down, that kind of idea. I won't go too much into it because I'll just put it up on there so you can see. Hot Metal Pro, 100.8. Again, I'm not surprised considering they're basically the same loft, the same technology, the same metal, same everything. The only thing I was initially slightly surprised about was the fact that it is launching 0.1 of a degree higher and spinning a couple of hundred RPM less. You can see by the club screen, you can see that one dot is slightly fractionally higher than the other dot, and it's 3 millimeters. And of course, because of the fact that I am hitting slightly higher in the face, because on my attack angle is 0.3 of a degree less, I'm not then generating as much spin loft, I'm getting a bit of vertical gearing, and then so there's your 200 RPM. That is how much difference, I mean small amounts, but can make a yard. Yeah. Let's go to the JPX923 Hot Metal High Launch now. 100 miles an hour, 99.6, this has got 31 degrees of loft. So it's still 2.5 degrees more loft than the Hot Metal Pro. So it's dropped down by 1.2 miles an hour in its ball speed. That's not surprising, but look at the launch, 20.4. That's 2.1 degrees more, 2.2, but it's 2 degrees more than any, it's just wow. And spinning at 4.6. Yep, spinning good, launching good, and it's going 138 yards. This thing, if you compare it in, actually I've got the tabular data in front of me here, 21 yards a piece for the Hot Metal Pro. You can see the two colours literally just blend over each other. As soon as you go to the yellow's 24. It's 3 yards more on, I mean, I'll put the percentage on there of exactly what the difference is, but it's just doing really, really well. If you're looking at 39 degrees descent angle a piece for the Hot Metal Pro, and as soon as you go into the descent angles of the Hot Metal High Launch, it's 42.5. And so I've always said this when it comes to descent angles is key. To control the ball on the green is absolutely key. And if you're going to go into a green, I love 45 degrees and more because that's going to stop on any green regardless of how hard it is. If you're going to be realistic though, 40 to 45 will stop on most greens. That's not too much of a problem. Anything less than 40 and you're relying on it to be in a very soft green for it to stop. So even at this distance, 140 yards and this speed at 73, you're relying on a very, very soft green for the Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro to stop. In come the HL, and it's going to stop straight away. The control benefit you're going to get for 2 yards difference in carry, well, that's it. It's just so much more functional, And you can see by the club head that it's 0.1 mile an hour faster than the Hot Metal. 0.1 is nothing. A difference in dynamic loft because it's got more loft, and then attack angle is no different. It's within such a small margin. It's silly. So let's go to the Forged now, and instantly you can see the Forged. The Forged blends much more now at this speed with the Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro. 100.6 miles an hour on the ball speed, so 0.2 of a mile an hour different to the Hot Metal. Remember, the Forge is still packed with technology in the head, springy faces, etc. So it's chromoly and 7-iron. It's designed to pop. It's designed to feel nice, look nice. It's got thinner top lines and stuff like that. Yes, it has, but it's designed to pop. And so I'm not surprised that it's marrying the kind of performance characteristics that the Hot Metal series does. Launched in 18.7, only 0.4 degree more than the Hot Metal Pro. So this is where the HL, you can just see, just stretches out its lead over how it can launch and spin a golf ball. It's the highest spin at 4.6. I mean, the Forge is doing well at 4.3. And yardage, again, at 140 yards, but it's going 22 yards in the air and 40 degrees ascent angle on the dot. Again, we're talking about 1 mil toe, 1 mil high was my average strike, and I hit them fairly well. So these are fairly optimal-ish numbers. You start mishitting these and that descent angle goes through the floor and you can't control it. This is why it's important to understand at different speeds, you need different golf clubs that perform and behave differently, that gives you added help for free, because you don't hit the middle every single time. And so when it comes to that, you need something that's going to be, well, helpful. And so you don't get that one that's fine when it's hit perfectly, then just drops out the sky when you don't hit it right. Last one here, I don't know really why we should keep it in there, because the JPX923 Tour isn't really what the JPX family, I don't feel, is, especially to me at least. I've seen the JPX family to be a very much so game improvement, absolutely game improvement. And with the Forge being a bridging golf club, which you can bridge towards, say, the Mizuno Pro side, especially the 225 or 245, which will be very, very soon. It's that kind of, the JPX Tour is effectively a blade. It's a cavity at the back, although it's the smallest cavity I've ever seen. And there's a little bit of help in there, but it's marginal compared to the rest. But we'll do it anyway. 97.1 miles an hour, launching at 20.7. So it is launching the highest by 0.3 over the HL, but it has got 3 degrees more loft. And there's only 0.3 of a degree in it. And that's just how surprisingly good the HL is. Spinning the best it will do because of raw loft at 5.486, and then carry at 130. I think everyone would agree 130 yards just won't cut the mustard at 73 miles an hour. So 73.1 miles an hour, and again 3.6 degrees down. We're looking at efficiency drops all the way through, so 138, 138, 136, 137, 133. Why? Because loft is a dominant factor there. You'll get certain amounts through springy faces, yes you will, but loft is the dominant factor. I did promise everybody a chart. Everybody loves a chart. And so I have done the charts for not only 75 miles an hour and under, I have done one from around about 80 to 85 miles an hour, and then swing speeds of over 90, because they will all behave differently as soon as you dial speed around. I have in this spreadsheet looks and feel. I have not included that when it comes to the ranking on the right hand side. The only things I've kept in there is launch, peak height, control, distance and forgiveness, the 5 important things, and I've ranked them, not the looks and feel. Looks and feel is what I think, and then you down the lens will look at all these golf clubs, because there's a massive difference between the JPX923 Hot Metal High Launch and then something like the JPX923 Tour. The Tour is tiny compared to the High Launch, so looks are massively different. If you look at the slow swing speed, the only one I've grayed out, what have I grayed out? Well, it's the loft. You've only got 4-degree loft gaps, and the problem with that is a slower swing speed is the distances between your clubs get very, very small, and when you're getting down to 6-yard gaps and 7-yard gaps, it can be difficult to know what golf club to use because they're all kind of blurring a little bit. Look at number 1, Hot Metal High Launch. It works really well. Launch is nearly the best. The only one that pips it just slightly is the Tour, but by 0.3 of a degree. And then the peak height's the best, the control's the best, the distance is the best, the forgiveness is the best. It is the most forgiving one of the whole lot. It's the biggest one with all the technology of the hot metal, with the center of gravity as low as it possibly can do. It wins in forgiveness on every single speed. It doesn't matter what speed you are. The Hot Metal High Launch is the most forgiving golf club there. And this speed, even though it's not the most strongest of lofted, it actually wins the distance as well, because of the lower center of gravity, because of all the springy faces and stuff like that. And so it wins hands down. The interesting one that doesn't win too much is the Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro. It's too cranked. As we said in the information beforehand, it just goes in too much like that. It changes completely if you then go to 80 to 85 miles an hour, because as of speed, you then don't have to worry about peak heights and descent angles as much, because you're hitting the golf ball harder. For the same swing, you're hitting the golf ball harder. The golf ball's still launching at the same, no different if you were swinging at 75 miles an hour. If you keep dynamics the same, it's still launching at the same, but ball speeds up, so it's staying on that launch angle for longer before gravity as an effect starts then doing its job. And so it's peaking at height higher and also descending steeper, and so you can see they start to win a little bit differently. The only reason Hot Metal Pro is in 5th is because they are so tiny, the differences between Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro. I really should have put something like tied this place, because they're basically exactly the same. However, if you're going to critique it to the nth degree, the Hot Metal will launch the golf ball a fraction higher under perfect conditions. I don't know by how many point whatever of a degree it will. Control is slightly more, peak height is slightly more, launch is slightly more, but it's a fraction. All those fractions mean between 2 points to 1 point, 2 points to 1 point, all the way through, and it's blurring far more. Really, it should be first place goes to Hot Metal High Launch. This is just performance only, just pure performance. The looks and feel are down to you, but the HL still wins. Then it's very, very, very close actually between how the Hot Metal works and really how the Forged and the Tour work. It is so close. I mean, you move a point either way and it moves it straight away. So that group, the 85 to 80 miles an hour, that kind of group there is really, really difficult depending on what you want from a golf club. And those are in its raw states. And I'm being very, very particular about them. The fact that actually the Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro, they all deserve 2 points apiece. If you add 3 points to the Hot Metal Pro, it then puts up the rank straight away. As soon as you go to 90 miles an hour and over, yes, a bit of a change, because straight away you've got to completely discount the Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pro. As soon as you go into that kind of speed, 90 plus miles an hour, yeah, physics just take over, and yes, the launch etc is not going to be as good. That's going to be the same throughout the whole entire speed ranges. Launch will never change, but that golf ball is now going that launch angle for now considerably more, and so you're getting much more peak height, much more control, much more distance. The interesting thing is, I've grayed them out. Why have I grayed them out? Well, I've grayed them out similarly to exactly why I grayed out the JPX923 Tour on the slow swing speed. Because the Tour was the traditionally lofted 4-degree loft gaps between the most of the irons, which at that speed doesn't give you enough distance between the irons to make it usable under normal conditions. No different now at 92, 93, 95 miles an hour 7 irons. These game improvement irons crank to just, well, they are 6 degrees nearly off traditionally lofted irons. And that traditional has moved, because traditional used to be 37 degrees for a 7 iron, but times change. But what will happen now with the 90 something odd miles an hour swing speed, these Hot Metal and Hot Metal Pros are doing 190 yards carry for a 7 iron. And that's impressive. However, it's too far, because then, because of the loft gaps are bigger between the irons, you now get to a point of where there's too big a loft gap or distance gap between the lofts. And so you're having to manufacture many more shots, which from a golf perspective, I'm running a traditional lofted set, which is 4 degrees, 34 degree lofted 7 iron, 30 degree lofted 6, 38 degree lofted 8, 42 degree lofted 9, that kind of idea. And I'm running 13 yards of gap between, give or take. If I dial my speed up to 95 miles an hour, 96 miles an hour, and I then decide I want to go to something like a Hot Metal Pro or a Hot Metal, well, my 13 yards currently would naturally go to 15 to 16 yards with the extra speed. And then I put those things in with even bigger loft gaps between each iron. I mean, you're going to be looking at 20 yards of gap between each iron, which is hilarious. And so I've grayed them out, because no one at 90 something odd miles an hour really, unless they're playing distinctly, like their flight is so poor that they're cutting the golf ball, dragging efficiency down, and then artificially moving their loft gap smaller. That is a possibility, so keep that in mind. But under normal circumstances, fairly decent, efficient swing, yeah. But the winner, again, is the high launch. Again, this is absolutely not taking looks and feel into the equation. That is just, I'm not putting in there because that's my subjectivity and that's your subjectivity. All I'm dealing with here is raw performance. Even at my speed, it wins. It's the most forgiving. It's distance-wise, it won't win up against the Hot Metal Pro, it won't. And to be fair, with the degree more loft than the Forged outdoes the Hot Metal High Launch a fraction, not by a lot, but enough. And of course, the one that's the least longest, only gets 1 point, is the Tour. That's normal, can't help from that, that's just loft, but it's just great. It launches one of the best, it peak heights the best, it control within reason the best for its distance as well, because you have to add everything in. It's just the most forgiving, it's just good. That's the only thing I would say when it comes to the JPX series. Now you've got 5, and then obviously with Mizuno Pro added in there, you've now got 8 separate models. Now Mizuno have definitely made sure that they've got a golf club for every single perceivable golfer on the planet with 8 different irons. But just within the JPX, you have got from full-on near enough blade all the way through to the most helpful iron you could nearly get your hands on without going to full-blown hybrids. And they encompass the entire range of golfers. Now, they all work out slightly differently for different swing speeds. Yes, I would always say the Hot Metal High Launch for anything slow. Anything slow and you're looking for raw performance and you're not going to add looks and feel and all that kind of thing, then always go HL. The interesting thing is, if you're just using purely performance and nothing to do with feel and looks, you'd be struggled to actually go HL regardless of whatever speed you swing. I would never use it. Why would I never use it? Because I'm stuck in my ways. Liking a blade, I've always played blades and they look lovely. I like the chrome, I love the smallness, I love the fact that it's got a tiny top line, tiny sole, tiny blade lengths. But then small golf clubs don't bother me. I hit the middle fairly regularly, and so it doesn't worry me about the forgiveness. If you're someone, again, we'll talk about handicap golfers that needs the forgiveness from time to time, then you're going to struggle to beat the Hot Metal High Launch. Hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up, go on YouTube, like so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free, it's great for the channel if you could subscribe. So thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.